Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again so much for tuning in. I'm Simmer Chase. Today is episode number 18 of our speed builds. I'm so excited to show you guys this one. It's a glass house, and it floats. So you know what they say, you should never ever throw a stone in a glass house. But you can sure try, and this is your chance now. It's got 4 bedrooms. It's actually got 3 bathrooms. On the gallery, I accidentally put 2, but it's really got 3. So there's a bonus bathroom there on the first floor. There's laundry tucked in underneath the stairs. We have a nice expansive kitchen. We have 360-degree views of the ocean because you're right on the ocean, floating. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I can't wait to show you. It's inspired off of the build that I did for the first Spark Challenge with the floating chapel. So it's basically the floating chapel design, just a little bit wider, a little bit longer. And then of course it's a house rather than a chapel. So we're using 2 floors instead of just the main level. And we kind of packed quite a bit in it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as I do all the heavy lifting and we build this glass house. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe in the links below. And stay proud. Go out and do something magical. And let's go ahead and dive in now. First things first is I go through and kind of start working on the initial design. And I really wanted this to make it feel as though it was a lot like my previous design, that I did with the floating chapel. So I knew I wanted to do the sort of A-frame design and then to kind of go in and just fill the gaps, because unfortunately the way that the walls work and then the ceiling, it's weird, and there's like little areas here and there that can't have walls technically. So since this is in a tropical climate, I feel like they're probably not going to be that affected by it. So what I did is I actually went through and just kind of started poking in a lot of different flowers and foliage and that kind of stuff, just to kind of fill it in so that you can really see the gaps. But there in the initial beginning, if you saw, there's like tiny little gaps there on the side of the margins of the building where like the roof comes down and around. So I thought that'd be really fun to just kind of cover and make it feel more like it's old and like it's maybe existed for a while. So now I came through and I'm tossing in all of my windows, and I love being able to use the windows that I don't always tend to use. And some of those are like the more of the craftsman-y style, or more of the like gothic looking ones that are just a little bit different than what you typically see in a build. So I wanted to kind of bring in some of those elements too in this. And I really wanted that sort of grand staircase idea. So that's when I kind of did that central bathroom, because obviously you're gonna want privacy. So I made sure that each and every bathroom that we have, which there are 3 here, that they all have like sort of privacy. So they're built on interior walls that I kind of created inside of what I'm calling the core of the house. So on the inside little area. And then I also really wanted to give it sort of that fishing pier vibe too on the front end. So I built out a lot of the patio or like the deck on the front, that kind of stuff, and just kind of made sure that it's got a really good design and feel and just kind of welcomes you into the house. So it's really something special kind of than what I've usually done with houses, because a lot of them don't float anyway. So I just kind of want to do something a little different than what I usually would do. And see, so now you're kind of seeing where those little gaps are on the second floor as well. But if they extend all the way out, then they pop through the roof and nobody wants to see that. So I went ahead and just kind of, filled those gaps a little bit too. And I could have probably made them like little hallways or something like that. But again, it's supposed to be 360 views of like the whole ocean and that kind of stuff, since it is floating on the ocean. And so I thought, this makes a lot more sense to really have the opportunity to kind of fill in the gaps with like the core and stuff like that. So once we get to actually fitting the inside, you'll see me kind of bring in a lot of different decor and then plants and things like that, just kind of fill the holes, that kind of stuff too. But generally, I do construction and things like that in The Sims where it's more cohesive and it's, obviously all the walls and that kind of stuff. But with this design and it being an A-frame, you kind of have to wiggle with that a little bit just because of the way that the design of The Sims works. And I wish, maybe they would allow us to be able to, like, where you can still draw it through, but then it would properly cut it and clip there around the roof, but it doesn't do that. So that's kind of our little, like, workaround for that. So now I'm going into the kitchen and just kind of getting the interior stuff done now at this point. I knew I wanted to do laundry, so as soon as I start thinking of like, oh, I don't want to do this, or oh, I'm going to do this, and I go and grab all the elements and kind of plug them in somewhere just so that they're there, and then it kind of reminds me later on like what to go back and double check on or what to kind of confirm within the design and kind of fill. So when I did this kitchen too, I really wanted to make sure there's a lot of storage space because this house does not have a lot of storage space. So I thought that it'd make a lot more sense to really give us the ability to fit more things and make it more useful. So, we have this sort of like faux wall there on the side so that we could do some uppers. And then I did a lot of base cabinets and then the modified like sort of base cabinet as well. And then I was having a little bit of a trick there, trying to like decide a little bit on how I wanted the kitchen layout to work because it is a little odd, but I thought it'd be really fun, to have the bar. And then what I ended up doing was just kind of expanding the bar out a little bit as you're seeing here, and then just adding in like a traditional bar and then a lot of lighting then and a lot of different elements and stuff to really make it feel homey as well, so it wasn't super sterile. But I really wanted to make sure that it felt like somewhere maybe you could host a cooking show or you could do something really kind of over the top with the space. So, folks can definitely download this as they choose and then, make it as they want as well. This is sort of like a good template to really kind of get going with. And then, if you want to modify it a little bit here and there, by all means. If you want to modify the whole thing, yeah, definitely do that too. But this just kind of get you started on sort of a good concept and idea on what we could definitely do here. So now I'm just kind of coming through and kind of giving more use to the dead space because again, it's all about maximizing the square footage. So it's not only like how far your eyes can wander, which is super important, but then also making sure that you're busy, that it's busy, it looks busy, it's got a lot, not over the top busy, but that it's got enough function and form that there's an identity and a purpose behind the space. So that's why I a lot of times will go and kind of like really add in clutter, add in like extra plants, that kind of thing, just to fill the space a little bit so that it's really maximizing every tile every time. So there's a lot of different things that I kind of play with in this to really get things to fit. So you're going to see me kind of go through and really fiddle around with the way that things are placed a little bit once I get closer to the end. Right now I'm kind of working on the bathroom, and I really, really wanted there to be like a really good guest bathroom because the way I designed upstairs, it wouldn't really behoove anyone to really go up there and, deal with that kind of stuff of going up there and having to like kind of traipse through their private areas just to go use the bathroom real fast. So I wanted to do that. And I really, really wanted the spaces that were closed off to still feel open, especially on the first floor. So I went with the really light colors this time. And I did a lot of the brighter paintings and decor and items that were just bright and fun and airy and just kind of give you that really whimsical feel that you would kind of expect to have living on a floating house made of glass on the ocean. So that's kind of what we've got right now. So now I'm just kind of poking through, getting our laundry area kind of together a little bit because I really definitely wanted to make sure that it had sort of that realism feel. So I didn't want to leave out the laundry. And then, me, I love the bubble blower machine for sure. So we have the bubble blower, aka the hookah. So, and then again, I was also like trying to figure out like how I was going to do some dining area too, because I really wanted to make sure, you know, it had all of its major functions. So that ended up just becoming sort of like a breakfast bar sort of thing. So you could definitely still, you know, seat like 4 to 6 people. But I mean, heck, you're at the beach, you're, you know, at the ocean, you're probably going to end up eating outside or elsewhere. But there is that option to do it inside. Or you could even like spin around and just take in the view from the bar as well. So now I'm just kind of going through and kind of trying to figure out a lot of other little spaces that we have here and kind of how to fill those. So you're kind of seeing me come through and bringing in pieces that are not only on the outside, but then on the inside, just to kind of start filling things up a little bit. And I really, really wanted that beach vibe too. So, you know, when you come out onto the beach itself, so we've got the fire pit, we have the fire bar, we have a bunch of lounge chairs and things like that. So there's just a lot of different space to kind of mingle and hang out and enjoy life. And then now I decided to go ahead and just kind of replicate the bookshelf that we had on the other side. So I just brought that over because I thought it would make sense too to have it by the computer as well. But then I thought maybe it'd be fun to have more storage there by the cooking area, you could cookbooks or all of that. And then, as you guys know now from following me here on the channel, I am super obsessed with grouping lighting objects so that you can get sort of that extra and kind of almost have like a whole nother option for lighting fixtures. So I clumped together a few of those like sphere lights, you know, like the sort of like rice paper looking lights. And I just really thought that was like a fun little element. I've not done that arrangement yet with them, so it was fun to try. And I think I'll probably do it again because I just really enjoyed how that came out. And then each bedroom kind of has its own distinct style. So I was thinking maybe like the mom and the dad, but then like, you know, the teen, the older teen, then maybe like younger teen as well, or a younger kid, but not like a child necessarily because I didn't do kids' rooms. And unless I have a really large house, I tend not to do kids' rooms because they take a lot more stuff. But then it's also kind of about like how they're just like the style and design and everything that you really need to fit into a kid's room. You almost need twice as much space to accommodate that kind of stuff than what you would have in an adult room. I know it was kind of funny because like, you know, you think of the master being for like the parents or whatever, but honestly, it's like you really, unless you're doing like a giant bedroom for a master, like the master is probably for the kids, just because, you know, it's like really silly and crazy, but there's just so many different things and objects and the toys and all that kind of stuff, and it starts adding up quick. So I definitely go through and will do those like sort of houses in that way. If it's like a family house or if it's multiple bedrooms or if there's space that I can definitely merge and maybe knock down a couple walls to create a bigger bedroom, that kind of thing. So in this house, we just have the 4 bedrooms that are more like adult oriented. And I figured that would probably make sense too because we're on a beach. It's a floating house. I mean, and the people that are, or the Sims that are currently living there are actually really funny because they're just like a hodgepodge family of like 4 or 5 guys. And so I'm like, yeah, you guys could definitely live in this house and enjoy. It'd be really fun to go fishing, you know, or later on, I don't think I put it in, but basically, yeah, there we go. So over here on the left, we have that fun little, you know, wave runner or like sailboat, I guess it is. So yeah, have that there. And I really love being able to do the bb.show hidden objects sheets, because then you get like all the really fun like nautical paintings and photography and that kind of stuff. And I really wanted to use that here. So I have that like little motif of like, you know, different photos, that kind of stuff together that really made me smile when I kind of got it together. I was like, yeah, this definitely works. I like this. So now we have, let's see here. So now I'm just going through and then I realized, crap. Okay, so I didn't actually allocate any room for them to really move around. So I was like sitting there kind of going through and looking and trying to decide what I was going to do here for a second. As you're seeing, like I'm like shuffling the camera around a little and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I make that newbie mistake? Like, you know, I just felt bad, but I was like, how did I make that mistake and totally forget to like allocate any space to be able to get between the bedrooms into the common space? So then I had to kind of work that a little bit. And so what I ended up doing was just chunking that in the middle and then doing the bathrooms there on the side so you could still get around them and still have that view and that vantage and not take away the space, because, you know, I could have probably like, I was kind of looking at it, but you know, you could just run a little hallway in between the glass and the bedrooms and kind of close that off and just run a little tiny hallway. But then the bedrooms would have windows or glass. And I'm like, oh, that defeats the purpose of having a glass house if you're just going to put walls all the way around it. So I went ahead and just kind of fixed that up a little bit better. So we have that now. And sort of that like really fun sort of hallway, like a grand hallway basically. And then at that point, that's when I was able to like see, and that was a bummer, but I really wanted to try and merge those two counters together, but it just didn't work. So I was like, I'm not doing that. But then it was really fun to use those Get Famous, really large chandeliers. They're just so neat, and I really like using them, but you have to be careful because your floor above it has to be exposed or they're not going to make any sense. They're going to go right through the ceiling and through the next level up. So you kind of want to use it if you're vaulting the ceilings, or if, like in this instance, I had like a curved ceiling, so I had plenty of space to allocate for it and it fit properly. But I mean, if you go and use it in just a tiny house or a smaller house or something, you'd need to shrink it down quite a bit. But then with those candles, it's so funny, but any of the candle chandeliers, you can't really resize, or the candle flame won't resize with it. So the candle flame will be up here, and then your candle's like way down here, you know, and it's like, that makes sense. I'm like, oh, well, how's that gonna work when your flame here, and then you've got everything else like all, you know, so it's just super messy looking. So keep that in mind as well. If you're doing anything with the candle chandeliers, you can't really change the size of them right now because the fire just does not move with it. It's really goofy. And then now I put the outdoor canopy because I really wanted to have like an outdoor game of some kind that isn't like an outdoor game necessarily, because I could have did like horseshoes or something, but I didn't want to do horseshoes. I was like, I know what I could do. The juice pong. But then I was like, nobody wants to juice pong when it's raining. And so then I did like little awning, which isn't like, it's harder to find because it's not with the other awnings and stuff like that. It's in the main sort of dump area of the decor stuff and the sculptures. So you have to scroll all the way pretty much down to the end of the list of the sculptures and you'll find it. But it's really kind of frustrating a little bit when you're trying to go and remember where it is. So again, it's towards the end of sculptures and not with awnings, not with anything like that. It's in sculptures. So it didn't really make sense to me. I kind of wish that they could go back a little bit now and kind of modify the categories a little bit, and maybe even overhaul the UI on that a little, because it is a lot harder to kind of find things now that we've just chunked in so many like packs and things like that. Okay, so now I'm just kind of looking through the final bit of the design and kind of just checking everything out, doing a little spin around. So with this, it's really kind of just showing you the whole design concept and like why I kind of went this way. And I think once you see it done now, you kind of understand why I wanted to do a full glass roof like this, because you just get that all-encompassing, all like sort of magical design and feel. So, and then again through like day and night, and just it's just really fun to be able to kind of see through. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I'm so grateful for you guys stopping by. I hope you have a great day and stay proud. Go out and do something magical. And then this is where we actually have the last bits of like the inside here with kind of the design. And I'm just really proud of like this one because I just thought it came together pretty well. So again, thank you so much for tuning in and stay proud. Go out and do something magical.